Imagine waking up tomorrow not driven by routine, but truly in command of your narrative. This isn't an exaggeration. Ancient Stoics like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius understood that most people live in a trance, enslaved by their emotions, troubles, and others' opinions. They had no time for regret or pointless distractions. So what about you? Will you continue to let life dictate your path, or are you ready to pivot and seize absolute control of your destiny? Today, you'll uncover 10 Stoic principles that are more than just philosophical advice. They are practical tools for those who want to live with courage, clarity, and strength. Don't think of these as mere talks from dusty old books or distant sages. The Stoics faced wars, losses, betrayals, and catastrophes, yet they never allowed external chaos to shatter their inner peace. They learned to convert pain into power, failure into learning, and uncertainty into freedom. And you will learn to do the same. If you constantly feel like you're reacting to events, stuck in repetitive errors, dwelling on sorrows, or stressing about things beyond your control, it's time to break that cycle. Stop wasting energy on what doesn't empower you. Stop living for others' approval or for that perfect moment that never arrives. The Stoics will teach you to disregard what doesn't matter, to use every obstacle as a launching pad, and to find tranquility even amidst turmoil. However, be warned. These lessons are not for those seeking excuses, but for those who desire results. Don't expect magic formulas or empty promises. What you're about to hear is direct, practical, and, if applied, will transform you from within. Each Stoic tenet is an invitation to act, not just to ponder. And at the end of this video, I'll share a piece of advice that could be a turning point in your life, so be sure to stay until the very end. Intentional indifference. Overlook what doesn't propel you forward. Intentional indifference within Stoicism isn't mere apathy or detachment from the world, but a deliberate decision regarding where to invest our attention and energy. Picture a scenario where every minor criticism, every piece of gossip, or every negative headline has the power to rob you of your peace and spirit. A Stoic recognizes that by allowing everything around them to exert influence, they lose self-control and become a hostage to external forces. Thus, they learn to filter what truly matters, distinguishing between what they can influence and what, despite its noise, has no genuine impact on their core being or life's purpose. In Stoic philosophy, there's a clear distinction between what falls within our control and what doesn't. Our virtues, character, choices, and attitudes are ours, while external opinions, events, and even our own health are considered indifferent. This doesn't imply a Stoic disregards health or relationships, but rather that they don't permit these factors to dictate their happiness or inner calm. They might prefer health over illness, but they don't see it as an essential condition for living virtuously or well. The same applies to wealth, fame, or recognition. These are indifferent, as they don't define a person's worth. Applying intentional indifference in daily life is an exercise in self-mastery. The Stoic trains their mind not to react impulsively to provocations, critiques, or minor frustrations. When something bothers them, they conduct a relevance test. Will this truly alter my life? Will I remember this a week from now? If the answer is no, they simply dismiss the concern and move on. This daily practice of ignoring what offers no value strengthens the mind, making it less reactive and more focused on what genuinely counts. It's crucial to understand that Stoic indifference isn't insensitivity to others' suffering or the world's injustices. On the contrary, the Stoic acknowledges the importance of human connections and compassion, but they don't allow themselves to be consumed by what is beyond their reach. If something harms society, they act to correct it, but they maintain inner equilibrium, even if they can't change everything. The secret lies in acting with wisdom and serenity, without being swayed by uncontrolled emotions or the desire to control the uncontrollable. Convert obstacles into stepping stones for progress. For those striving to live as true Stoics, obstacles appear not as adversaries, but as demanding teachers. Stoicism teaches that life isn't designed to be easy, and that every difficulty is, in fact, an opportunity in disguise. When a problem arises, most people instinctively complain, question why it's happening, or even feel unjustly treated. But for the Stoic, each challenge is a chance to test and fortify their character. They understand they cannot control what occurs around them, but they can always choose their response. This mindset transforms any barrier into another rung on the ladder of personal development. Great Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, viewed obstacles as a natural part of the journey. Instead of avoiding difficulties, they confronted them with bravery and strategy. This isn't about seeking suffering, but about accepting that it's part of life and can be used to your advantage. When a Stoic faces a tough situation, they don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but rather, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective is powerful, redirecting attention from the problem to the solution and the lesson. Every challenge becomes a mental exercise, an opportunity to cultivate patience, resilience, and creativity. The practical application of this principle begins with refining one's outlook. The Stoic learns to distinguish between what is within their control and what is not. If the obstacle can be removed, they act with determination. If it cannot, they accept it and seek to grow from the experience. Instead of succumbing to frustration, they pause, take a deep breath, and consider how to leverage the situation to become a better person. A work issue becomes an exercise in patience, a rejection transforms into a self-confidence exercise, and a setback is seen as an opportunity for adaptation. Thus, life ceases to be a series of defeats and becomes a continuous training ground. Stoicism also teaches that often, obstacles that seem insurmountable today will appear as minor details in the future. Looking back and recalling past difficulties that once seemed impossible helps one realize how much growth has occurred. The Stoic cultivates retrospection as a habit. They review past problems, identify what they've learned, and use that knowledge to face current challenges with greater serenity. This prevents them from sinking into self-pity and keeps them moving forward, always seeking growth. By turning obstacles into stepping stones, the Stoic becomes mentally unshakable. They understand that evolution requires effort and that every difficulty overcome brings them closer to their best self. This mindset not only strengthens the mind, but also inspires those around them. After all, witnessing someone confront adversity with courage and wisdom teaches that growth is possible even in the worst scenarios. Ultimately, what separates those who remain trapped in suffering from those who progress is the readiness to convert problems into opportunities. This is the true power of Stoicism applied to daily life. Embrace the present. Now is all that exists. Living in the present moment is one of modern life's greatest challenges, yet it's also Stoicism's most potent secret for those seeking tranquility, joy, and fulfillment. Centuries ago, the Stoics recognized that the human mind has a tendency to wander into the past, brimming with regrets and sorrows, and into the future, filled with anxiety and expectations. Meanwhile, the only true time, the now, slips away unnoticed. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, warned, "Don't dwell on the past, don't fantasize about the future. Concentrate your mind on the present moment." Those who disregard this advice end up living a half-life, always anticipating a perfect moment that never arrives, always lamenting what has passed and cannot be changed. Stoicism teaches that happiness and peace can only be found in the present. When the mind is caught in what has already happened, it relives unchangeable errors and memories. When it projects into the future, it creates scenarios of fear and worry about things that may never materialize. The result is a life marked by dissatisfaction, delayed happiness, and the squandering of opportunities that arise every instant. The Stoics saw the present as the sole real moment of existence, the only space where one can act, change, feel, and grow. They knew that anxiety stems from an excess of future and sadness from an excess of past. To train the mind to dwell in the now, the Stoics proposed simple yet powerful practices. One is the present moment exercise. Whenever you notice your mind drifting to the past or future, pause and take a deep breath. Observe your surroundings, feel your body, the air entering and leaving, the sounds and colors of your environment. This return to the present teaches us that, however chaotic the world may be, there is always a space of calm and clarity within you. Another practice is the single-day rule. Ask yourself daily, if today were my only day to live, how would I use it? What would I do differently if I knew there were no guarantees for tomorrow? This exercise compels you to value the present and stop postponing life. Gratitude is also a fundamental tool for anchoring the mind in the present. Stoics recommended writing down 3 things they were grateful for each morning. This trains the mind to focus on existing good rather than what is lacking. At the end of the day, reflect, did I truly make the most of what was available to me? This habit transforms the present into the only place you want to be, as it teaches you to recognize the abundance and beauty of the current moment, however simple. Living in the present doesn't mean ignoring the past or ceasing to plan for the future, but rather giving each its appropriate weight. The past serves as a lesson, the future as guidance, but life can only be lived now. Those who learn to bring their mind back to the present discover that happiness isn't found in grand achievements or extraordinary moments, but in the small details of daily life. It is in the now that a full life is built, with fewer regrets and more accomplishments. The Stoics knew this and left this legacy for those willing to truly live, without getting lost in the mazes of time. Self-discipline, the path to liberation. For the Stoic, discipline isn't a confinement, but the key that unlocks a truly liberated life. While most people wait to feel motivated before acting, the Stoic understands that waiting for the perfect moment is the greatest trap of failure. They know that willpower is fleeting, that today's enthusiasm can become tomorrow's laziness, and that relying solely on emotional impulse is a sure recipe for a life of regret. Therefore, Stoics build their routine on the bedrock of discipline. They do what needs to be done regardless of mood, fatigue, or external circumstances. In Stoicism, discipline means acting even when unwilling, fulfilling commitments to oneself, and not bargaining with one's own mind. Marcus Aurelius, a prime example of Stoic discipline, faced battles, betrayals, and illnesses without losing focus on his duty. He knew that true strength lies in pressing forward, even when everything seems to conspire against you. The modern Stoic may not face wars but deals daily with distractions, temptations, and excuses. The difference between those who achieve and those who merely dream lies in the ability to maintain consistency, to transform small daily actions into significant long-term accomplishments. To apply Stoic discipline practically, the secret lies in setting clear commitments and adhering to them without compromise. The Stoic doesn't wait to feel like exercising, studying, or working. They simply begin, even if only for 5 minutes. They know that action generates motivation, not the other way around. By meeting small daily goals, such as reading a few pages, exercising, or maintaining a healthy routine, they strengthen the muscle of discipline. Each promise kept builds self-trust, while every excuse fuels weakness. The Stoic chooses to be their own master, not a slave to their own impulses. Another powerful practice of the ancient Stoics was discomfort training. They voluntarily sought situations that demanded effort and resilience, such as cold baths, early rising, or foregoing small pleasures. This wasn't a pursuit of suffering, but an exercise to demonstrate to one's own mind that it needn't yield to every desire or fear. By intentionally facing discomfort, the Stoic prepares for real-life challenges, becoming more resistant to adversity and less dependent on perfect conditions for action. Ultimately, discipline is what distinguishes those living on autopilot from those building a purposeful life. The Stoic understands that freedom isn't doing whatever one desires, but possessing the power to do what is right, even when disinclined. They know that each day offers a new opportunity to strengthen the mind, fulfill promises, and take another step toward excellence. Those who embrace Stoic discipline discover that the more they control themselves, the freer they become to achieve everything they aspire to. Emotional resilience. Master your feelings, don't be their captive. The true strength of a Stoic lies not in avoiding emotions, but in learning to master them. For many, controlling emotions seems impossible, as if anger, fear, or sadness are forces of nature, uncontrollable and inevitable. Stoics, however, saw it differently. They knew that emotions are not monsters to be battled, but reactions stemming from our thoughts and judgments. When a strong feeling arises, like anger at an injustice or anxiety over a problem, the Stoic neither represses nor explodes. They observe, comprehend, and then decide how to respond. This conscious choice is what separates those enslaved by their emotions from those who are self-possessed. The masters of Stoicism, like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, taught that the initial emotional reaction is natural and involuntary, like a startled jump. But what we do after that initial impulse is a rational decision. If someone offends you, your body might react with tension or anger, but it's up to your mind to interpret what happened. Was it a genuine attack or just a misunderstanding? The Stoic pauses, analyzes the situation, and only then chooses how to act. They understand that it's not the events themselves that cause suffering, but the meaning we ascribe to them. Therefore, cultivating reason and self-control is essential to avoid being swept away by passions. In Stoicism, there is no idea of suppressing or ignoring emotions. On the contrary, Stoics acknowledge the importance of feelings, but advocate for transforming negative emotions into healthy ones. Anger can become determination, fear can transform into caution, sadness can become compassion. The secret lies in identifying what one feels, understanding its origin, and then redirecting its energy towards something constructive. This requires daily practice. Whenever a strong emotion arises, the Stoic observes it as if watching a movie about themselves, without getting caught up in the script. Stoic emotional resilience is also built through acceptance. The Stoic knows they cannot control everything that happens, but can always choose how to react. They accept what they cannot change and focus their energy on what is within their grasp, their choices, attitudes, and behavior. This serene acceptance is not passivity, but emotional intelligence. Instead of fighting the inevitable, the Stoic learns to flow with life, adapting and growing with each challenge. They understand that every difficulty is an opportunity to strengthen the mind and heart. Ultimately, mastering emotions is one of the greatest powers anyone can achieve. The Stoic doesn't close themselves off to the world or harden their heart, but learns to feel without being dominated. They practice self-control, cultivate patience, and transform every emotion into a tool for their own growth. Thus, they find an inner peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances, but originates from self-mastery. Those who follow this path become unshakable in the face of life's ups and downs, ready to confront any storm with serenity and wisdom. Memento mori. Remember mortality to value life. Memento mori, a Latin phrase resonating through the centuries, carries a direct and often overlooked message. Remember that you are mortal. For the Stoics, this reminder wasn't an invitation to fear or despair, but a powerful tool for transformation. They knew that most people live as if they have infinite time, postponing dreams, decisions, and reconciliations, while life silently slips through their fingers. The Stoic, conversely, makes the awareness of death an urgent call to live with greater intensity, purpose, and truth, without getting lost in distractions or trivial worries. At the heart of Stoicism, memento mori is a daily exercise in humility and self-awareness. Great masters like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius meditated on death not to become sad, but to eliminate excessive pride, anxiety, and attachment. They taught that death is a natural part of life's cycle, and accepting it is the first step to living without fear. When one understands that everything is transient, even pains and pleasures, the courage and clarity needed to choose what truly matters emerge. The Stoic learns not to waste time on pointless arguments, old grudges, or the incessant pursuit of others' approval, because they know every minute is precious and irretrievable. Applying memento mori in daily life revolutionizes how one perceives time. The Stoic awakens each day aware that it could be their last, and that changes everything. They ask themselves, if today were my last day, would I be satisfied with my actions? Am I dedicating my time to what truly holds value? This reflection eliminates the superfluous and focuses on the essential. True relationships, projects that leave a legacy, honesty with oneself and others. There's no room for procrastination or fear of judgment, as the urgency of life demands action and authenticity. Stoicism teaches that contemplating death isn't morbid, but liberating. By accepting one's own finitude, the individual frees themselves from attachment to minor concerns, the accumulation of possessions, and the illusion of control. They begin to value each moment more deeply, every conversation, every opportunity to do good. The fear of death becomes fuel for a fuller life, as the Stoic knows they cannot control time, but they can choose how to use it. This awareness brings serenity in the face of losses and courage to confront challenges, as everything is part of the natural flow of existence. Ultimately, memento mori is a radical invitation to truly live. Those who practice this principle learn to forgive faster, to love more intensely, and not to postpone what's important. Life becomes lighter as the weight of worries dissolves before the certainty that everything is fleeting. The Stoic lives each day as a gift without getting lost in past regrets or future anxieties. They understand that death isn't the end, but a constant reminder that life must be lived with bravery, gratitude, and presence. Stoic gratitude: make the present your greatest treasure. For the Stoics, gratitude isn't just a fleeting feeling of joy when something good happens, but an active stance toward life. They considered gratitude a daily exercise, a conscious choice to value what one already possesses, regardless of external circumstances. Instead of awaiting grand achievements or perfect moments to give thanks, the practitioner of Stoicism learns to recognize the worth of the present, including the simplest situations and even adversities. This perspective transforms constant dissatisfaction into genuine contentment, as happiness ceases to depend on what is lacking and begins to flourish from what already exists. At the core of Stoic gratitude lies the understanding that we don't control everything around us. Fate, luck, losses, and gains are part of a larger cycle, and trying to fight against it only generates frustration. Therefore, Stoics teach that we should serenely accept both good and bad days, being thankful for the growth opportunities each brings. Being grateful doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine, but recognizing that even difficulties contain valuable lessons. Strength, courage, and wisdom often arise in the most challenging moments, and giving thanks for them is a way to honor one's own evolutionary process. Practicing Stoic gratitude is an exercise in attention and presence. Stoics recommended setting aside a few minutes each day to reflect on what deserves appreciation. This could be a roof over one's head, a simple meal, stable health, or even overcoming a challenge. They taught that the absence of problems is, in itself, a reason for gratitude. Furthermore, they suggested viewing difficulties with different eyes. Instead of complaining about a setback, give thanks for the opportunity to develop patience, bravery, or resilience. This habit shifts the focus from what needs to be gained to what has already been achieved, and strengthens the mind to face new challenges. Another powerful practice is the gratitude journal, where one notes 3 to 5 things daily for which they are grateful, including not just happy moments, but also obstacles overcome and small victories. This exercise doesn't have to be grand. A warm coffee in the morning, a received smile, a problem solved, or even the ability to learn from a mistake. Over time, this trained positive outlook habituates the mind to see abundance even in situations of scarcity. Comparing oneself less to those who have more and more to those who have less is also part of this process, as it helps one realize that, despite difficulties, there is much to appreciate. Stoic gratitude, therefore, is a tool for inner transformation. It teaches that happiness isn't having everything, but knowing how to appreciate what one already has. By practicing it, the individual frees themselves from anxiety about future achievements and regret for what has passed, finding contentment in the present moment. This attitude not only brings more serenity and emotional balance, but also strengthens relationships, as those who are grateful tend to recognize and value the people around them more. Ultimately, Stoic gratitude is the fertile ground where true happiness can grow, even amidst life's storms. Personal excellence: surpass your limits daily. In the Stoic universe, personal excellence isn't a distant destination, but a daily journey of self-improvement and authenticity. Great Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, never settled for living on autopilot or accepting less than what they could be. For them, true greatness lay not in titles, riches, or external recognition, but in the quality of character, the integrity of actions, and the continuous pursuit of virtue. They challenge us not to squander life merely dreaming of what we could be, but to act each day to become better, stronger, and wiser versions of ourselves. Personal excellence, according to the Stoics, stems from an unwavering commitment to continuous improvement. It's not about seeking drastic overnight changes, but about evolving a little each day, consistently and consciously. Marcus Aurelius said it's useless to debate what it means to be a good person. One must simply be one. Stoic practice recommends that at the end of each day, a person honestly evaluate themselves. Was I better today than yesterday? What can I do to grow tomorrow? This habit of constant self-assessment keeps the focus on progress and prevents routine from turning into stagnation. Another fundamental principle is that of modeling excellence. Stoics learned by observing great examples around them. They sought inspiration from people they admired, analyzing their habits, decisions, and ways of confronting challenges. The idea isn't to copy, but to adapt what works to one's own reality, always with authenticity. By choosing a model of excellence, be it a mentor, a philosopher, or even a family member, the Stoic practitioner challenges themselves to elevate their standards and seek new benchmarks for continued growth. The pursuit of personal excellence also requires the courage to face one's own limitations and step outside one's comfort zone. Stoics knew that progress isn't achieved by chance, but through constant practice, deliberate effort, and a willingness to learn from mistakes. They viewed every difficulty as a test, every failure as a lesson, and every victory as a stepping stone to the next challenge. There's no room for complacency or self-satisfaction. Those who aspire to excellence must be willing to reinvent themselves daily, adjust their course, and always seek the next level. Break free from external validation. Your opinion is the only one that matters. The quest for others' approval is a silent trap that ensnares most people without them realizing it. From a young age, we are conditioned to seek applause, praise, and recognition, as if our worth depends on how many yeses we receive from the world around us. However, the great masters of Stoicism already warned, depending on external validation is handing over the key to your own happiness to those who don't always have your best interests at heart. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus taught that those who live waiting for others' acceptance become hostages to judgments and opinions, always vulnerable, always restless. The Stoic understands that others' opinions are unstable, fleeting, and often based on criteria that have nothing to do with truth or what truly matters. They learn to separate what is within their control, their actions, choices, and values, from what is beyond their reach, such as what others think or say about them. By focusing on their own character, effort, and integrity, the Stoic practitioner builds a solid self-esteem that doesn't waver in the face of criticism or praise. They don't need an audience to feel complete, as their satisfaction comes from the clear conscience of having acted according to their principles. This emotional independence doesn't mean isolating oneself from the world or ignoring people, but developing an inner strength that allows one to act authentically, even when it contradicts external expectations. The Stoic isn't paralyzed by the fear of judgment, nor do they get lost trying to please everyone. Before making a decision, they ask themselves, if no one knew about this choice, would I still do it? Or am I acting for myself or to be accepted? This authenticity test is a turning point, as it reveals whether life is being guided by one's own will or by the desire for approval. By internalizing their own sense of worth, the Stoic becomes less vulnerable to criticism and praise, maintaining emotional stability in the face of inevitable social fluctuations. They learn to receive criticism with maturity, evaluating if there's anything to learn, but without allowing malicious comments to shake their confidence. Similarly, they are not swayed by empty praise, as they know their mission is to pursue virtue, not popularity. True freedom is born when others' opinions cease to be a thermometer of one's own happiness. Breaking free from the need for external validation is an act of courage and maturity. It means saying enough to the endless cycle of pleasing, justifying, and conforming to what others expect of you. The Stoic chooses to live according to their own values, pursuing their goals with determination and authenticity. They understand that the only opinion that truly matters is their own, and that only then is it possible to build a full, free, and truly happy life. Those who embrace this principle discover an inner strength that no one can take away, and finally they feel in command of their own destiny. Active acceptance, flow with life, and grow through changes. Active acceptance, according to Stoicism, is one of the most powerful stances one can adopt when facing life's uncertainties and twists. Stoics saw no point in fighting against the natural order of things, understanding that the universe follows its own flow, regardless of our will. Instead of resisting the inevitable, they encourage us to accept reality as it is, not as we'd wish it to be. This acceptance is not resignation or passivity, but a conscious choice to act with wisdom and courage in the face of what cannot be changed. When an unexpected shift occurs, the Stoic doesn't waste energy trying to control the uncontrollable, but directs their attention to what is within their reach, their attitudes, choices, and capacity for adaptation. Stoic philosophy teaches that suffering often stems from resistance to change. When we insist on clinging to the past or controlling every detail of the future, we create an internal tension that prevents us from living with ease. Stoics remind us that everything in life is in constant flux, just like the seasons. People come and go, plans change, situations deviate from our script. Instead of fighting against this tide, they suggest we learn to navigate with it, always seeking the best possible response for each new scenario. To accept doesn't mean to agree with everything, but to acknowledge reality and choose how to act from that point. Active acceptance is a daily practice. It begins with a clear recognition of what is within our control and what is not. When faced with a challenge or change, the Stoic asks, is it within my power to change this? If not, how can I adapt? This simple yet profound reflection frees the mind from the burden of trying to control the impossible and creates space for creativity and intelligent action. When we accept circumstances, we cease to be victims and become protagonists, capable of transforming even the most difficult situations into opportunities for growth. Stoics also valued detachment as a fundamental part of this process. They knew that the more we cling to the past or to rigid expectations about the future, the harder it becomes to accept the present. Practicing detachment isn't abandoning dreams or relationships, but understanding that nothing is guaranteed and that everything can change. By letting go of what no longer serves a purpose, we create space for the new and become more flexible in the face of changes. This lightness allows life to flow more naturally, without the weight of constant resistance. Active acceptance is what allows the Stoic to live with serenity, even amidst chaos. They understand that true strength isn't in controlling everything, but in knowing how to adapt, learn and grow with every experience. When we accept life as it is, we find peace, balance, and an unwavering confidence that, no matter what happens, we can always choose the best response. That is the essence of Stoicism, acting with virtue, accepting destiny, and transforming every change into an opportunity to become a better person. It's time to face the truth. No one else will live your life for you. The Stoics knew this centuries ago, and today, you too have the tools to alter the game. It doesn't matter how many times you've stumbled, how much criticism you've heard, or how many dreams you've put off. What truly matters is what you do from this moment forward. Every Stoic principle you've encountered here isn't just ancient theory. It's an urgent invitation to act, change, and grow. Only you can decide if you'll remain a spectator or finally take center stage in your own story. Life doesn't wait. While many remain stuck in the past or anxious about the future, the Stoic lives the present with courage, clarity, and purpose. They learn to disregard what's unimportant, transform obstacles into strength, master their own emotions, and make discipline their greatest freedom. They understand that time is finite and that true happiness stems from gratitude, the pursuit of excellence and authenticity. Every choice, every reaction, every thought can be the beginning of a transformation. The Stoic doesn't shy away from changes. They embrace them, grow with them, and keep moving forward, becoming stronger each day. If you've made it this far, you're already a step ahead of most. But don't let this knowledge gather dust. Choose one principle, start today, and feel the difference. Don't wait for motivation, don't seek others' approval, don't fight what you can't change. Act, adapt, give thanks, and evolve. Your life can be extraordinary, but only if you have the courage to step off autopilot and take command. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these principles resonated most deeply? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your journey might inspire others. And if you want to keep receiving content that truly transforms, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. Here you'll always find practical tools to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Your growth has only just begun. Let's embark on this journey together. See you in the